Office party turns deadly, the CEO who never made it home. October 18, 2019. A Baltimore rooftop. Cold air, warm cocktails, and false laughter. It was supposed to be a night to remember, and it was. Just not for the reasons anyone imagined. That night, employees of Halston and Company gathered at a downtown rooftop bar to celebrate the end of a profitable quarter. The champagne flowed, music pulsed, and just after midnight, the company's founder and CEO, Richard Halston, was seen stepping into an alleyway next to the bar. By sunrise, he was dead. Found face down in a pool of blood. Phone shattered. Skull fractured. But nothing stolen. No sign of a struggle. At first, police called it a mugging gone wrong. But it didn't take long for that theory to fall apart. Richard Halston, 44, was the self-made CEO of a rising media firm. On paper, he was the American dream, a charismatic entrepreneur who built an empire from his college dorm room. But those closest to him painted a more complicated picture. To some, Richard was brilliant. To others, he was manipulative, vindictive, and dangerously charming. He had a habit of overstepping boundaries, professionally and personally. Office romances. Secret settlements. Favoritism. Revenge firings. Whispers of lawsuits no one could confirm. He was known for giving people what they wanted, and taking it back without warning. One employee once joked, "Working for Richard is like walking a tightrope over a shark tank." The people celebrating with him that night? Several of them had reason to see him gone. At first, the Baltimore police leaned on a simple narrative. A high-profile CEO wanders out drunk, stumbles into the wrong alley, and becomes the victim of an opportunistic attack. But almost immediately, things stopped adding up. There were no signs of forced entry. No defensive wounds. And oddly, nothing was missing. His wallet, Rolex, and credit cards were all intact. Surveillance footage from the rooftop bar showed Richard stepping into the alley alone at 12:47 a.m. 3 minutes later, the camera glitched. When the feed resumed, he was lying motionless on the pavement. Detective Carla Monroe, the lead investigator, noted something else. Richard didn't appear scared or hurried. He wasn't being chased. He went into that alley to meet someone. And now, that someone was a killer. Police turned their attention to the guest list. Samantha Fields, 36. Director of Operations. Smart, respected, and underpaid, she'd been promised a VP promotion 3 months earlier. Instead, the job went to someone Richard barely knew. Her reaction, according to HR emails? Unprofessional. Borderline hostile. Tony Green, 29. A creative designer who once threw a presentation remote at Richard during a client meeting. Their relationship had never recovered. Tony had been placed on probation just weeks before the party. Dana Rivers, 41. The newly hired VP of Strategy. Rumors suggested she and Richard had been romantically involved. That relationship ended, abruptly, 2 weeks before his death. You think you can screw people over and get away with it? You don't know who you're messing with. The voice was unmistakably Tony's. But when they brought him in, Tony was calm. He handed over Uber receipts, text messages, and time-stamped Instagram stories that placed him in East Baltimore during the time of Richard's death. The alibi held. One suspect, cleared. Next came Samantha. During a second round of questioning, she broke down in tears. She admitted to following Richard into the alley that night. She wanted to confront him about the promotion. She said he mocked her, accused her of being entitled. She claimed Richard shoved her. She walked away. I left him there. Alive. Angry. But alive. But there was no evidence to confirm or contradict her story. The coroner noted that Richard's injuries were consistent with a single, targeted strike, not a fall. Still, Samantha denied harming him. Then came the twist. A bartender, reviewing security footage with the detective, pointed out something odd. A woman at the party who wasn't on the guest list. She stayed mostly in the background, sipping water, watching Richard. She left 5 minutes after he did. Her name? Elaine Walters. A name that rang a bell. Elaine had worked at Halston and Company 5 years earlier, a junior analyst, fired after just 6 months for behavioral issues. What didn't show on her resume? She had filed a wrongful termination lawsuit. The case was settled out of court. She hadn't worked since. Detectives visited her apartment. No answer. Neighbors said she left the day after Richard's death, in a rush. Worse? A DNA test confirmed that her skin cells were found on Richard's shirt collar. Suddenly, a former employee, not even on the party list, was the prime suspect. But Elaine was gone. To this day, the murder of Richard Halston remains unsolved. Elaine Walters has never resurfaced. Her bank accounts remain untouched. Her car was found abandoned at a rest stop in Pennsylvania. No credit activity. No calls. No sightings. Samantha left the company shortly after. She declined interviews. Tony quit and moved to Chicago. Dana, reportedly, is in therapy. No one talks about what happened that night, at least not publicly. But whispers persist. Did Elaine act alone? Was she hired? Was this personal revenge, or carefully orchestrated silence? A celebration turned deadly. A CEO with secrets. And a woman no one saw coming. One crime. 3 suspects. 1 missing woman. And a trail that's gone cold. Because some mysteries don't fade, they fester in silence. Was it revenge for a ruined life? A workplace feud gone too far? Or justice served in silence?